Sure as I possibly can. So there's a huge event, well, not a huge event, I'm just exaggerating here, but there's a bit of a debacle going on when it comes to the Xbox brand and the Xbox community and what it means to be an Xbox ambassador. And one person in particular who I believe may be a higher rank of the Xbox ambassador program has kind of exposed herself recently as being a person who doesn't actually play that many games. She's more of the social aspect of the gaming community. You know, people who like to talk about gaming, but they don't really play games. People who like to talk about positive aspect of the gaming community, but views criticism and constructive feedback as a toxic attitude. So let me just reel it back a little bit and explain to you guys what's going on. So recently, if you're in the Xbox community, you would have realized that there is no games coming out this year. Two of the major games that were meant to come out this year, which is Starfield and Redfall, have been pushed back to 2023. This has led to a lot of the gamer community in the Xbox part of side. That was a weird way of phrasing it, but you know what I'm trying to say. People in the Xbox community have realized now, wow, we actually have no games. And this has led to many of them criticizing Phil Spencer's leadership and how he's managing his massive empire. This person from the Xbox ambassador, she came out in defense of Phil Spencer. But while she was defending Phil Spencer, she ended up exposing herself as a Xbox ambassador who doesn't actually play that many games, and even tries to use her husband hundreds of hours of gaming to justify her ranking. Now, this has opened up a lot of discussion when it comes to whether or not we should be gatekeeping people from the gaming community, because the word gatekeeping is a very, controversial word. Nobody wants to gatekeep anyone from any community, but it's gotten to the point now where we have what I like to call false prophets in that community. People who preach, but they're not preaching in good faith for that particular brand. And for me personally, someone who's supposed to be in the gaming brand and in the gaming community per se, if you don't play a lot of games, and there's not really a certain amount of games that you're supposed to be playing, but you have to be someone who's pretty active. Someone who at least plays maybe 5 to 10 games a year. I'm gonna give you that, and I'm just being very minimum here. You gotta be playing a lot of games at the very least to be out here talking and critiquing and providing feedback and all that stuff. And this has opened up a lot of discussion about that. And for me personally, I just want to give my own thoughts and opinion on it. I think it's high time we've actually had this conversation. Too many people in the gaming community, in my own opinion, in the gaming industry per se, are people who I feel like aren't adequate enough to be representing me and to be representing a lot of people in the gaming community. And I feel like they actually hold back the progress we could be making by obviously being honest with the companies who we're supposed to be giving our money to in exchange for good quality value. She came in obviously back after this and talked about how the gaming community is obviously attacking her, harassing her, and all that stuff. And I'm not denying that she may have experienced all of that stuff. However, I think she's been including constructive criticism alongside the harassment and toxic behavior and all that stuff, which is understandable because obviously if you're being called all types of names, the constructive criticism won't look any different than obviously the insult that you're receiving. But I feel like personally, this all stems from the Xbox ambassador brand. People have a weird perception of it, and that is, if you're going to be an Xbox ambassador, you should have a really high or a decently respectably high gamer score, and for someone who only has 9,100, that is quite low, because there are other people who are obviously Xbox fans who have 200,000, just quantifiably more gamer scores than what she does. And yeah, she completely exposed herself. I mean, one of the great examples that was used is that she claims that in a live stream that she enjoyed playing Quake for hours and hours and hours on end, or at least she put at least more than 2 hours into it. And because she said that it's one of her favorite games. But when you look at that gamer tag, she only has like 10 minutes, 20 minutes tops in the game. It's like, for me personally, I'm going to be honest with you. If you want to see my credentials, they're obviously in my website, omnigeekempire.com. At the very bottom of my website, you'll see my credentials. So you can judge for yourself if I'm qualified to talk about this. But I feel like if you're going to be an Xbox ambassador, I'm sorry, you have to have more games on your fucking it led to people trying to redefine what it means to be a gamer, to the point where I've heard someone say, if you watch games, you are a gamer. That's like me saying, if I listen to someone playing guitar, I play guitar. I'm a guitarist. It doesn't make any sense. This is why I actually personally, you may hate me for this, but I think it's high time we started gatekeeping who we let into the gaming community, or at the very least, who we are allowed to represent certain brands. The fact that someone's out here saying, if you watch games, you are a gamer, that is the most disingenuous and stupidest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. But that's just my opinion on it. Once again, if you want to see my credentials, it's at omnigeekempire.com. At the very bottom of the thing, you'll see a tag, a picture of thing, or something like that, where it'll take you to a link to all of my gaming profile accounts. Or you can just read my website. I talk about games all the time, so yeah, I'm glad that we're having this discussion, because the fact that we have people like this being close to companies, being flown out, being given all these perks, and they're talking like this, trying to be, I hate to use this word, but politically correct and very progressive in their buddy kumbaya energy, when in reality, focus and just critique when companies mess up so that they'll stop messing up in the future. But that's just my thoughts and opinion on it. Let me know what you guys think. I'm out. Peace.